In 2014, this was my first pickups video. Buckled teeth and quality looking pretty shoddy, and no games in the background. Then things started to grow. A month later, I acquired my very first shelf, and it was pretty full by full standards. And again, we entered the summer of 2014 and things continued to grow. My teeth were still very buckled by this point, and my editing wasn't exactly great, but it did get a lot better, as did the collection. Now, I've asked myself over the last 10 years, how have I got myself into this hobby? What have I done to go from such a tiny collection to such an absolutely monumental bunch of video games? How have we gone from this to this? So how the heck did we actually get to this? I can't have a definitive answer for what's going to work for you, but what worked for me in the early stages was definitely to go into charity shops, and bear in mind this is 10 years ago, and my goal was to buy every single game. So what it was a case of quantity over quality, and what that did for me is it enabled me to build my collection and physically see it grow over the years. And in turn, what that did was actually fuel my motivation to stick with collecting. Now, in a very early video back in 2014, I said this.
Which is not bad, and this will quintuple over the next month. So
that I'm going to quintuple that over that coming months. And I think now it has more than kind of quintupled. You know, we've got the Lady Lounge here and the Lady Loft. If you've not seen the full tour, you can go and watch it. I did briefly show it during the voiceover there. So back in the early days, it was about buying quantity over quality. Now, the reason you cannot do that in 2023 is because charity shops don't seem to be a reliable source for collecting retro games anymore. There are many more reliable sources that I'm going to talk about when my dog stops barking. She's now out the room. So unfortunately, charity shops aren't a reliable source anymore. I would say for every 10 or 20 that I go into, maybe one you will drop on something relatively good, but now they've caught on to the prices, and things do cost sometimes more than eBay, sometimes more than the retro game shops and the retro gaming markets. So I tend to stay away from them, and what you'll notice is a lack of charity shop retro game hunt videos here on YouTube because they're absolutely crap. You can't really add much value to a retro game hunt for your viewer by going into charity shops anymore. If you do, whip out your phone, get it filmed and insert it into your video. I will say this as well, this is a bit of a weird one. Obviously, I chose not to have children. I think any family that do have kids, it's a lot more difficult to collect because you have those children to pay for, and quite rightly so. So for me, I think for me, what's helped me grow this is to be in that, for me personally, I feel it's a fortunate position for me not to have kids and to be able just to kind of put money into my hobby. Of course, I do have a full-time job as well, so I'm salaried and I can, you know, afford this. And that for me, I just want to kind of get out the way as the elephant in the room, because people always think, oh, you're rich, you're loaded. You know, I'm absolutely not. And you know, I choose to kind of funnel my money into different avenues, and this is the kind of result in terms of the financial aspect. So a bit wishy-washy, I know, but I wanted to just put that out there as a little disclaimer. I think with anything in life, you have to be passionate and committed. Whether it's fitness, whether it's collecting anything, if you are not committed, you are not going to achieve. Now, I always knew that I wanted to collect video games, and at times I haven't had an absolute goal. I've never sat down and said, right, okay, what do I want to collect? Things have just naturally and organically happened. Now, networking is my next thing that I think you need to consider, because when you go into retro game shops, I love to talk to the owners of the shop, the owners of the store, and that helps you to build contacts, and then they let you know when they've got certain stock in, etc, etc. Now, if you're lucky as well, you can do that with charity shops. I know somebody local that does that, and he gets tip off, so when the things do come in, say, I don't know, a box Sega Mega Drive, for example, he gets first dibs. I don't necessarily agree with that in the charity shops. I don't always agree with that in the retro game shops, to be fair, but I do think it's good to build contacts and build friends, because I think when you've got a community of something, things become more enjoyable, and it's definitely helped and motivated me to be able to go out to the gaming markets, meet you, go out to the shops, find out what people's stories are. I love it. I absolutely buzz off it. And it's not about getting discounts, because, you know, I have been to shops and people haven't given me discounts, but I filmed and, you know, they then get a flurry of people in and they've earned thousands and thousands, because that's what I've been told, and they don't give me a discount, and that's fine, because I don't care. I want to go in and I want to buy what I want for the price that's for sale at. Any discount is a bonus. So network, talk to people, build your motivation through getting out there into the local retro game shops, feeling things, the tangible media. You know, I know this is a comic, but to be able to see something like this on a shelf rather than behind an eBay wall definitely motivates me as well, because obviously that's what we did back in the day. It's all part of that nostalgia when you used to go into, say, like Woolworths or Blockbuster or WH Smith or your local video game store, and seeing that wall of Super Nintendo games next to all the latest VHS, and then you've got all the sweets there and the drinks there, and then you kind of look through and you know, pull. Literally, it's just everything. When I go out on a retro game hunt, I am back in the likes of Blockbuster, I am back in the likes of Woolworths, picking Ocarina of Time off the shelf for the first time and Banjo-Kazooie for the first time, costing me £99.98 when I purchased those two games. Like, for me, I think that's really important, and that helps to feed your passion. That helps to feed your motivation to continue to collect. So if you're not committed, if you're not motivated, it ain't happening. One thing that I do focus on is cartridge-based stuff. The Super Nintendo in particular for me was my bread and butter, was my fuel on my fire back in the 90s. I have the most memories from the 16-bit period. Obviously that bled into the 32-bit period, but thinking about your nostalgic roots, collect what you played. Obviously I've collected more than what I've played. I'll talk about that. But this, I knew from that very first pickups video, again, that when I came back to YouTube in 2014, it was a Super Nintendo collection with 9 games, and I traded it for a £100 photography voucher. I gave them the voucher, they gave me the collection. Obviously it was a friend that I knew, so he wanted that, I wanted that. We made a trade, we were happy. But I started back with what I knew, what was familiar to me, and that's helped me amass this. And obviously, if you've collected everything that you played as a kid, for me, because that's what I did, I said, okay, I've collected everything I played as a kid, now what? Okay, let's experiment with games that I never got the chance to play. And then that's led me down on this completely new path and this completely new journey to experience new Super Nintendo games, new Sega Mega Drive games, new Sega Saturn games that I just had never played. So I think for me, keeping an open mind and an open heart has helped me to build this collection and perhaps have the confidence to venture down a path that I didn't know, because obviously you have to spend money on a game that you've never played. What I tend to do at retro game markets, if that's the case and the game speaks to me, I'll hop on YouTube, I'll check some gameplay, I'll briefly look on maybe Metacritic or other review websites, and if things look pretty positive, I'm happy to splash a bit of cash on a game that I've never played, because if other people are going to enjoy it, I'm going to enjoy it. So in summary, when you find yourself collecting a portion of your collection, PS1, PS2, when you've got everything that is on your list, don't be afraid to venture out and experiment with things that you want to try. And I think that's where YouTube content creators are really good at maybe chucking games out there. Like I've done games, for example, 10 PS1 games that changed my life, PS1 games I've never played. You know, I've brought games to the table that hopefully can inspire you to think, oh, I like the look of that game, maybe I'll buy it. So that's why I like to put those kinds of videos out, because in a way it's helping others build their collection. And even that motivates me, knowing that, you know, I can have like a little bit of influence on you guys and your collection. And I get told that all the time. Oh, I started collecting again because of you. So that's really cool, guys. And if you've got any tips on how you like to collect, please, you know what to do. The comment section is there for a reason. Get it filled. I've spoke about things as a kid. We never had lots of money, or if we did, it certainly wasn't funneled into me buying Super Nintendo games. We relied on trades. So part of me as an adult has now said anything, because I wasn't allowed things as a little girl, I'm just going to buy whatever I want as an adult. So for me, I know a lot of this collection is me saying, I'm an adult and I can do what the F I want. So there's a stubbornness to me, and there's a stubbornness to collecting at this level. And also it's really nice to be able to just branch outside of video games as well. I've just looked down there and I've seen an entire box of sealed, something just fell then, Mario Panini stickers, things like that. I have lots of cool things signed by developers that I've become to know over the years. I know, you know, Kev Bayliss, for example, we speak quite often. He was one of the Rare developers. He was in charge of creating, you know, refamiliarizing the design for Donkey Kong on the Super Nintendo. You know, it's absolutely amazing when you start to kind of titivate your collection outside of video games. Signed, some people like graded, me not so much. Comics, books, weird and wonderful things, I don't know, like this for example. Check that out. How mentally obscure is that? I mean, things like that. I've never played this. I love it because it's just adding that little bit of finesse to a collection. And for me, I'm kind of like that as well. I like to add that little bit of flair, a little bit of finesse that really do polish things off nicely. Custom consoles, that's something that's really taken off in the last 10 years. People don't just fix consoles anymore, they mod them. I've just picked this off the shelf. This is a modded GBA SP with my logo on it. Really nice, really, really gorgeous. It's like that two-tone shimmer. It shimmers between blue and purple. You might not be able to see it there on the camera, but I've really developed an interest in gorgeous looking consoles. We have the beauty, of course, of backlit as well. These were backlit, but they weren't very bright, so getting a GBA with an IPS screen, things like that. I mean, the beauty of this community is it's ever evolving, so move with it. Don't be static, don't be kind of stuck in your ways, move with it. Like I said, the rise in modding, I've moved with that and I've got loads of modded consoles, so that's really helped me to pad out my collection. So this one was a little bit of a nostalgic journey. We've gone from 2014 right up to today. I started out collecting quantity over quality, and over time that's now flipped to quality over quantity, because I have the quantity, but now I'm really honing in on the more expensive pieces. And if you saw this video here, I visited what I believe to be a £100,000 collection. It's only 10% of this chap's collection, and I spent a fair bit of money on 6 games. So I've really started to hanker down on the more expensive titles now, and I think that's the way my video game portion of this collection is going to go. So thank you so much. If you go into the Leeds Gaming Market, by the way, early February, I will of course see you there. Please be sure to say hi, and I'm excited to go into there. I'm going to have a little list, and I'm hopefully, well, I will be documenting everything on that. So long may the retro game hunts live. And again, my nostalgia waffle is going to end there. My name is Gemma. Thanks so much for watching. Take care and see you soon. And need a few seconds of your time to tell you about channel memberships. If you guys want to become a channel member, click join from the main page or the second link in the description. There are 3 tiers, all with different perks for you if you want to become a team member. Thanks for your time. Let's continue with the video.